Everyone is talking about AI replacing UX. But you see, here's the problem. We're asking the wrong question. The question isn't, does AI change UX? It's this. What actually stays constant when everything else changes? Because if you get that wrong, you don't just design bad AI, you design systems that break human behavior. Now this is part 5 of my AI series, and this is the layer that most people skip. Now, over the past few years, AI has completely shifted how we build products. Interfaces are becoming less deterministic, more adaptive, more predictive. And on the surface, well, it feels like the old UX rules don't apply anymore. But you see, here's the reality. They don't disappear. They become more important because UX was never about interfaces. UX was always about people, and that hasn't changed. User experience is fundamentally about how people feel when interacting with the system, not what the system actually does. Now, I've already spoken about AI governance on this channel and the leadership layer and the accountability layer as well. Now, watch that in the link in the description. But before governance, we need to understand something a bit more fundamental. And there's a belief that AI simplifies everything, that it reduces effort, removes friction, automates complexity. Well, that's not entirely true. You see, AI doesn't remove complexity. What it does is redistribute it. Now, this is known as Tesler's law. There's always a fixed amount of complexity in a system. You can't eliminate that. You can only move it somewhere else, you see. So the real question has become, where does that complexity go? Or does it go into a system or onto the user? Because if AI shifts complexity onto interpretation, validation, oversight, then you haven't really simplified anything. This just goes to show how challenging it can be to truly design a really good frictionless system, or a system with as little friction as possible, or something enhanced because you now have the benefit of using AI. But if you haven't done it right, you haven't simplified anything. You've only just hidden a problem. Now let's talk about decision making. Hick's law. What does Hick's law tell us? Well, the more choices you give someone, the longer it takes them to decide. Now here's where AI gets interesting, because AI doesn't just give you options. It gives you suggestions, predictions, variations, confidence levels, and then suddenly you're not just making decisions, you're evaluating the system's thinking. You see, that's a different kind of cognitive load altogether. And cognitive load matters, because when it increases, decision quality drops, errors increase, trust decreases. So if AI isn't carefully designed, it doesn't reduce thinking, it actually amplifies it in the wrong places. But let's go a bit deeper. Jacob's law. What does that tell us? Users expect systems to work just like the things they already know, and that's mental models. This is where AI often breaks, because AI systems behave in a particular way, probabilistically, inconsistently, contextually. But humans? Well, humans are organic. We don't think that way. We expect predictability, stability, cause and effect. So when AI behaves differently each time, see, it validates the mental models that humans have. And when that happens, trust drops. Not because the system is wrong, but because it's unpredictable. Now, what's the real shift? See, here's what's actually changed. We're no longer designing interfaces. We're designing behavioral systems. Systems that suggest actions, influence decisions, shape outcomes. And this comes with responsibility. Now, don't get me wrong, we are still designing some systems that do have interfaces, but right now we're talking about artificial, or in our case, assisted or automated intelligence as we know it today. We've known that for years because design already shapes behavior. This is something that has existed for eons of time. But AI accelerates that influence at scale. and often, well, invisibly, because this directly connects to, with power comes responsibility in UX. Because if a system nudges, persuades, and guides, then the question no longer is this usable? The question becomes, is this ethical? So let's bring this all together. Despite everything AI changes, there are three things that remain constant. Humans have limited cognitive capacity. Humans still rely on mental models. And humans still respond emotionally to experiences. And you see, this is critical. People don't experience systems. They experience how systems make them feel. That hasn't changed, and it won't change, because we are human. AI will keep evolving. This much we know for sure. Human behavior won't move nearly as fast. So, do UX principles still matter in the age of AI? Oh yes, but not as rules, but as constraints, as anchors, as a way to stay grounded in human behavior while everything else evolves. Because the biggest risk right now isn't bad AI, it's designing AI without understanding people. But let me ask you, which UX principle do you think becomes more important in an AI-driven world? And that's the difference between designing features in AI and human experience. Stay present and remain curious. And I'll see you in the next one.